It's going to be hard to do a spoiler-free review of this movie. There's a lot I want to talk about, but I also don't want to give away the big surprise of the movie. So I'll probably do a spoiler review right after this. So stay tuned. Also, I'm trying out a new mic, so let me know what you think. Do you think this one is better, which is the Rode Micro, or the lav mic that I use? Let me know down in the comments. Spider-Man Far From Home is once again directed by John Watts, starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, Samuel L. Jackson, and Jake Gyllenhaal. This movie takes place directly after Avengers Endgame. Peter Parker is going on a school trip with his classmates to Europe, and he just wants to take a break from being Spider-Man. He doesn't want to have to worry about those responsibilities. But Nick Fury recruits him for a mission to stop these monsters called the Elementals, which are trying to destroy the world. So first I want to put it out there, I was not a huge fan of Homecoming. I don't think it was a terrible movie, but I just don't think it was a good Spider-Man movie or a good depiction of Spider-Man as I know him. This is the Spider-Man movie I wanted. This gave me all the things that I think Homecoming was missing. It was a great time, great action, great character development, great use of the cinematic universe, and I think it also did a great job of wrapping up the Infinity Saga. Like, it was sort of an epilogue to what Endgame was. So what worked? There's a lot for me that worked in this movie. First and foremost being Peter Parker Spider-Man. I think this is the best version of him we have seen on screen, and yes, that means like better than he's been in Homecoming, Endgame, Civil War. This version of him, I think he's a lot more hands-on. He's a lot more self-made. He's able to do these missions on his own, figure out problems on his own, build parts of his suit. I love seeing that with Peter Parker because I think that's what makes him great, is that he was able to do so much of this stuff on his own. Of course, he has to report to Nick Fury, who's basically his boss in this movie, but ultimately it's still him in command of what's going on and him making choices of what he wants to do or how he wants to handle a situation. And the supporting characters are also great. We have Ned, played by Jacob Batalon, still great, one of my favorite parts of Homecoming. And whenever he's on screen, I just laugh, I have a good time, because he's such a great companion to Peter Parker and plays off Tom Holland well. Then there's Zendaya playing MJ. I think this is probably my favorite version of MJ on screen. She's very snarky and sarcastic, sometimes morbid, but also kind of awkward, which kind of goes well with Peter's awkwardness. And so when you see their relationship kind of forming, it makes sense because they're both kind of just awkward people, but it works out and I'm rooting for them and the chemistry is there. So that was a great part of it. Another thing that's great about this movie is the effects that they use. Of course, Mysterio is there, so if you know him from the comics, you know his MO is kind of like sort of Doctor Strange-esque magic kind of things going on. So you see a lot of that. And of course, there's these big monsters, the Elementals. They look great. And then the fight scenes, especially the ones including Mysterio, those are awesome. Some of the best Spider-Man action I've seen in live action. Jake Gyllenhaal did a great job as Mysterio. It was like the comic book character brought to life. I think he gave it his all. I don't want to say anymore. I would just say Jake Gyllenhaal definitely killed it. Great addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This movie also had a great depiction of high school. Homecoming, that was also something that was great about it, was that the high school part was fine. I think it was even better here. We see normal high school stuff like people having crushes, kids being awkward, kids getting bullied, all that kind of stuff that we're used to seeing in coming-of-age movies. But then you also have that add layer because it deals with how these kids are processing and dealing with the snap, because they do address it in this movie. And so you do see how it affects them and how it's changed their lives, and I thought that was great. There's a repeated theme in this movie of responsibility, which is always a big thing in the Spider-Man universe. Of course, with great power comes great responsibility. And I think this was an amazing way of telling that story or using that theme. So throughout this movie, you see that Peter is dealing with losing Tony, but what that means for him, that he may have to step up and be the next Iron Man, which are some big shoes to fill. But you also see that even if he didn't want to be Iron Man, he still has to step up and do something because he has these powers. So it's kind of up to him now to decide what he wants to do with them and how he wants to use them to help people. Even if he feels like, no, I just want to be a normal high schooler, he can't do that anymore because he has these powers, so he has to step up and use them. The verdict. I think this was the best live-action Spider-Man movie we've seen so far. I think it did a great job of capturing who Peter Parker is, his awkwardness, his intelligence, his ability to make his own gadgets and be his own superhero, but also gave a lot of great high school moments, great character moments, amazing action and effects, great say antagonists, and again it just gave a fun time, fun summer movie, but also put us in a great place for the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I am excited to see. Have you seen Spider-Man Far From Home? What did you think? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. I will see you in the next one.